Of the home and away games these two teams have played in. Maxwell towards half forward. Doors dragged down. Free.
The other thing, Dwayne, it is quite wet down here now. There's been a little bit of rainfall in the last 10 minutes or so maybe the players are playing a wet weather brand at the minute.
Well, even then when Gaff had it, Gaff had a little bit of time there and he just got onto his left and blazed it away. He really needed to be composed and understand he did have some more time.
Doors to O'Brien, who steps hill. Can kick a long bomb. Goes for goal. Touched on the line. Mitch Brown, fingernail on it. More cameras than ever before, bringing you the action in high definition this year. Great to have your company wherever you're watching this around the land. It's living up to expectations right now. Hams used his body, didn't use his hands. He did to take the mark, but not to push out. Gaff to Lynch, wide open forward line. Got to get it in quick. Darling, arm slap free.
A couple of times we've seen Quentin Lynch kicking inside 50. I just don't think he always kicks to the advantage of his teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. He does have a tendency just to bomb the ball in, doesn't he? Even with that kick where he wanted to pass it, he just doesn't do a low, hard dart, does he? It's always got a bit of air and always gives the defenders a bit of a chance to spoil.
Opens up the angle. It's coming back. Not quite enough.
It was interesting. The umpire called play on very early in. He arced out, maybe only a metre or two, going for the big round the corner kick. The umpire called play on.
Is that his natural arc, Jace?
But I think it's natural for any player that's outside his kicking range to kick around the corner a bit.
Side bottom, half-back flank. Doors. Couldn't make something of it, neither could McGinnity. Beams kept it alive according to the boundary umpire. Doors, Elliott, side bottom, side step. Umpire's found something. Collingwood fans not happy.
Or is he testament to Dane Beams? Scott Selwood is looking after him.
He's got 10 already, Beams.
Elliott heads back. Brown sits on Clark a little. Good, strong grab back. Shaw, one of the ins for Collingwood this week, and they've got 3 in from last week's lineup. Maxwell keeps it low. Goldsack might go. Hands on it. Elliott slipped it out to Blair. Critis, Marston, Critis. West Coast have got their running game going. Collingwood kicked the first 3 goals of this game. West Coast could finish the quarter with the last 3. Wrap up tackle, no free. Collingwood come away with it after the turnover. Clark, Buckley, touch play on's the call. Thump to ground, Glass. Flick out to McKenzie. Waters, and now Lynch can get and go. It sits for him, he's away. Darling, one-on-one with Harry O, who used his boot. Sidestep. 55 out, bounces it towards Marston. Turvey just got there in time. Marston collects, handball back in the Pritis direction. Shaw cut it off. Back to Marley Williams. We're down to 2 minutes to quarter time, and Lynch cuts it off.
A few blokes kicking floaters out there at the moment.
But he loads up again to the square. Darling runs back with the flight. Made a good contest. Turvey crumb.
I'll tell you what, he is predictable on Lynch, isn't he? You do know where it's going when he gets it.
Maxwell, almost the turnover. Doors. Buckley. Turnover again. Pressure intense right now. Gaff, a wobbler, a chaos ball through Darling's hands. Side bottom. Darling hunts him down. Side bottom heads wide. Jolly had to motor to make some ground. Maybe Collingwood a chance for the last score. Beams is a little spent. Rosa had to search for the line. Crowd wanted ball. Beams gets it regardless. The Goldsack keeps it in. Sidesteps beautifully. Dances around opponents. Puts it to 50. Cloak can't mark. Thump back outside 50. Cloak first to pounce. Wellingham and Swan all on
he did everything right up until the time he went to ground. He took possession, he got tackled, he rode the tackle, he handballed to the boundary side of himself, followed it up, and then inexplicably just went to ground. That allowed Collingwood to bring the ball forward.
Talking about inexplicable, Dane Swan by himself inside forward 50.
Just come from the bench, Roosie. Just slipped on, Blair come off, Swan on. Great change.
#1 player in the competition for possessions per game this year, averaging 34.
I was about to say,
better than that.
I was about to say, Dwayne, we don't see him have set shots too often. He's normally kicking his goals on the run as he streams in from a contest. That probably explains he's a little bit rusty.
So McKenzie, last thing they need is a turnover right now. Marston won that and won it by showing some ticker.
He copped the weight of Darren Jolly on him too when he landed.
Doesn't necessarily need to go across goal here. 6 seconds and counting. Safety the right option. Cox, good pluck. And that'll lift his confidence on the siren. Top spot up for grabs. Best 2 teams in the competition so far in 2012. Head-to-head at the home of football, and it's Collingwood by 8 points at the first change. 3-5-23. Plays 2-3. 15. Quarter time at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Collingwood, the first 3 goals of this top of the table battle, opened up a 19-point lead. The West Coast hit back with 2 late goals, and it's an 8-point margin at quarter time as we head to David King.
Thanks, Dwayne. Just trying to have a look at what's been most effective in terms of patterns of play and styles of play of both teams. We've seen so far the opposite of what we've seen the whole way through 2012. The West Coast Eagles have been incredibly damaging all year from stoppages, but today, even though they're slightly behind in clearances, the Pies have been the most damaging, kicking 2 forward-half goals. They trail the clearances 9-8, but they lead the damage. Kick-ins is where the West Coast have been productive. 2 goals, 2 from their 4. Kick-ins has been the opposite of what the Pies have allowed all year. So today we're seeing a reverse of probably what we've seen all year, but the damage is still there. There's a lot of upside here for the West Coast Eagles around this clearance situation.
Yeah, good call, Kingy. Roosie, one of the stats I find remarkable is the fact that both teams have only had, in fact it's 9-11 now, the tackles in favour of the West Coast Eagles, but they're very low numbers. I mean, extrapolate that, that's 44 tackles to 36. We've seen teams have 70, 80, 90 tackles in a game, and yet we're seeing a finals-like atmosphere, lots of turnovers. I think players are just panicking a little bit and getting rid of the footy before they get tackled.
I think you're absolutely right. It's interesting, you made comment during the break, the poor skills, but it's not the tackling, it's actually the perceived tackling.
Yeah.
And guys are getting rid of the ball rushed, meaning there's no tackles, but the ball use has been pretty ordinary from both sides. And both sides have had a couple of opportunities going forward where they've butchered them with poor kicks.
Nathan Buckley having a chat to Dane Swan.
Well, he'd be happy that they've got their nose in front in terms of kicking efficiency and contested possession. So that's very good in terms of the recipe of success. There are a couple of key indicators that work pretty well for teams, although it's only marginal, and West Coast really got back into that quarter after it looked like the first 5 or 10 minutes Collingwood were dominating. It's turned into the type of contest I think we all expected.
Stern words there, Buckley to Buckley.
Yeah,
he looked as if he was laying down the law, but in a kind manner.
I think he was saying you didn't push back in that situation. You always like to try and lip read the coaches.
Second term underway. Collingwood by 8 points. Almost a throw. Picked up by Dale Thomas. Beams to Maxwell. Rosa tapped it away from him. Side bottom. Wellingham. Kick smothered well. Hearn ricochets. And Hearn again takes it to the line.
Terrific double effort from Shannon Hearn. Good pressure there on Sharad Wellingham.
She saw Dane Swan starting the second term on the bench. Ball back into play. Cox and Jolly. Side bottom and Pritis.
Really interesting as that contest developed. When this quarter started, Heath Shaw started on the wing next to Daniel Kerr. He's allowed Kerr to go to the stoppage and be loose, and he's just pulled back 15 or 20 metres on the attacking side of the stoppage. It's an interesting roll of the dice.
I'll tell you what, and Kerr's still the one that most clubs tag, and he's the one that does seem to make... And once again, he hasn't got the ball.
Yeah, that was a very tough call. Shaw heads wide for Solo. Just edged out of it well. Brennan showed some composure. Brown, Selwood, Rosa. So it opens up for them. Shuey can get and go. He's got one-on-ones though to go to. Marston's the one he picks. Beats Marley Williams. He's got a one-on-one. It's Darling.
Good kick.
Shepherd on 50. Lynch back in the goal square. Cox not getting back. Natanui getting there late. Crashed the pack, took 5 down.
And himself.
Yes, and he's not getting up quickly. Beams toward Cloak. McKenzie with the fist again. It's his forte. And he finds the line of Natanui still on hands and knees.
Yeah, he's taken it out. Well, look, he attacked the pack. He crashed it. I reckon he's copped one right on the beak. He might have copped an errant arm there as Wellingham courageously went up for the ball as well.
He took a few with him.
Daisy Thomas. Hearn again mops up.
It's just another quick kicker. Both teams are not getting a lot out of their clearances, a lot out of their stoppages, because a lot of it is that perceived pressure, Jace, we were touching on before, just a scrubby old quick kick to a free player in Hearn.
Lynch made a contest there, knocked down to Pritis. They've got the inside 50 they were after. Hill, who hasn't seen a lot of it yet. Darling flicks it back. Harry O. Line was there, stolen from him. Now will the umpire bring this in 2 or 3 metres to ball it up? Natanui's up and okay. That's the reason why.
Just ran straight into that elbow. Accidental.
And the umpire does bounce it back into the field of play a little, but it's knocked straight back out.
Just watching Jolly's doing quite a good job to nullify the Cox and Natanui. Generally he's trying to work his way in front. We see it again here. Gets a bit thrown out of the way there, but that looks like he's going to be his style for the day. Trying to get in front and back into the big ruckman of the West Coast Eagles.
Blair, 1 metre kick to side bottom. For Solo. Hunted down by McGinnity. Wellingham. McKenzie. Handball to the call. Goldsack. Clark. Dawes. Beams. No one to go too long. Realises that now. Cloak runs for him. McKenzie getting back. Cloak uses body. Too much. Collingwood fans show their displeasure.
I tell you, it was a terrific kick by Beams. There was nothing on forward. And he
good vision, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good vision. He stopped and had a good look around, and nice kick to Cloak.
It's woken the crowd up. Selwood short. Waters. 40-metre bomb in hope. Natanui can't get there for this. Tuvey left it behind. Natanui does get it. Marston gave it to him on the run from 49. No.
See a little bit of claret. Looks like it's running out of the nose and mouth of Nick Natanui. Just worked him a little bit too far under. He didn't use the hand. He used the forearm.
Little 1-2. Maxwell to Buckley. Almost gone. It is gone. Had an enormous amount of time. Took too long. And this is a huge kick. This is for 3 goals in a row to the West Coast Eagles. Hill.
Been a consistent goal kicker for them since coming over from the Bulldogs, Josh Hill. And if he starts adding things like defensive pressure, and that's a gritty tackle. He chased hard.
Played on quickly to Shuey.
No closer to goal.
Angle a little better.
Dwayne, this has all come off the back of that genuine one-on-one Cloak versus McKenzie again. Cloak hasn't marked the ball yet, doing a great job, Glass and McKenzie at this stage.
That's what he has ahead of him. Strikes it well. It drifts, but it's only a behind.
I think you're right, Kingy. It's probably one of those ones that Cloak would like to have back again, I think. JC, just a little bit over-aggressive. Normally he'd mark those, Cloak. He was in really good position and didn't really need to give such a big bump as what he did.
Thomas, a 1-2 with Brown, then Tuvey, then Buckley. Maxwell lends a hand. Clark in a one-on-one, couldn't get a fist on it. Dane Swan didn't get a chance to use it. Gaff finds some space. Darling's got a couple to beat here. Harry O, sanctuary of the line.
They're enjoying a good period of play at the moment, the Eagles. They're controlling the ball at their end of the ground. Good pressure whenever Collingwood do win it down back.
Even with the inside 50s, they've evened that up the West Coast. Kerr, Pritis. There's another inside 50. It'll be coming out though. Maxwell, no it won't. It'll be a ball in.
a really good tackle pressure. You touched on Kerr before, Jason. He's still walking around
on his
pretty
own
much by himself, which is staggering because, as I said, he's normally one of the... It's now Kerr versus Swan, it looks like. Kerr goes one side, Swan goes the other side of that stoppage. So we'll have another look at it here just to see where Kerr, if anyone, goes to him. But still no one going to him at the moment. And Swan's by himself also.
It's a hush here at the MCG. 70,000 people here silent. Nat Nui wraps up Clark. No free. Hard and low was Reed. Shuey tried to go low. No free. Swan. Side bottom for Solo. But Mackenzie could grab this. He comes hard. Flicks it down. Free kick. Play on advantage. Cloak. There's no one in the square. He could go for home and roll it. He dumps it. It's low. It skids. It is a beautiful kick. That is as good as it gets.
Well, that was started by Swan. You talked about Kerr earlier on, but that was started by Swan out of the back half because Kerr actually didn't go to him. And then this is a really well thought out kick, Jace, I think he just realised.
He ran his full 15.
Yeah, he realised exactly where he was, and he realised, well, if I kick a big, high one, it's probably going to swing. I don't mind that one. Just gives it a real chance to lob on the goal line and just hope that roll goes forward.
We just see time in forward half for the quarter. 90% of the time in the Eagles forward line. They have the first inside 50 on the counter-attack, the Pies, and kick a goal. They've wasted 7 minutes of dominance, the West Coast Eagles.
Suddenly, Collingwood have got their machine powered up again. Swan to Wellingham. Cloak leads short in his direction. Hard ball to gather. Straight past him. McGinnity throws that away. Shuey wrapped up, ball between his legs. Umpire hasn't seen that. Ball up.
The interesting thing is, you mentioned Kingy. That's probably a throw.
Open hand,
yeah, open hand. Kingy mentioned in the first quarter that the West Coast Eagles goals came from their kicking. So they're really both sides are kicking goals from deep in their attacking defensive 50.
Massive players around this ball get a ball up.
Brucey, both sides just look like they're not really exploding or exciting from the clearances at the moment. It's become a very strange game. I think when we see the third man up here, those sorts of players really open this game up.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's just not a lot of clean ball out of the clearances. A lot of quick kicks, which means it's going straight to that loose player at either end.
Daisy Thomas, letting everybody know he's around, trying to be in the game even when there is no game. But his season's improving. He's getting better the longer his hair gets this year. Let's hope it gets to last year's length. Started this season very slowly, Daisy Thomas. Free kick. Blair to Swan. Hearn read that beautifully.
Just another poor kick going inside 50, which Swan's normally a really good ball user.
Brennan made Marston work for it. Was to come into the corridor. He keeps that low to Hams and he missed him.
Again, he was 15 metres clear, Ashton Hams. The kick didn't need to be punched that hard.
Oh, Maxwell.
That's what they call changing your mind mid-handball.
Horror fumble. Rosa, Hearn, Marston, Hams. Pops the pass. Wasn't really 15. Dawes, Buckley got a piece of it. Beams back. Reed wide, sits a little. Brennan attacks Wellingham. Shaw's away with it though. He's got a couple of options at half-forward. He missed them both.
There's some terrible kicks going on out there at the moment from both sides.
Mackenzie and Rosa take it over with force.
He had two options, Heath Shaw. He kicked it right in the middle to the West Coast player.
You'd think it's not windy down there, Kingy, is it?
No, it's not. It is quite slippery, and it is like a wet weather game, even though it appears to be a beautiful night for football.
And it is being played with a kind of a finals pressure. Shepherd to Prittis. Tried to push off on Beams. Got away with it. Lynch back to Shuey. Open forward line. Darling in a one-on-one. Used his body with Tuvey. Feeds back onto it. Needed it to bounce kindly. It was unkind. Gets to Shepherd and he still can't pick it.
just took his eyes off the footy, I think. He had it spent before he picked it up. Another opportunity goes to waste for West Coast.
And it's the crowd's darling there. Collingwood fans enjoyed every piece of that. Lynch out of the ruck. Got one high and he'll line up at goal.
That's really messy from Clark, isn't it, really? Just really messy tackle. The guy's got his head over the ball. You've got to be just more careful in what you approach to the football, particularly when you're 20 metres out from goal.
He's going to leave the right glove on while he kicks. He used to take it off.
He has been doing that a bit this year. To make it a one-kick game, never in doubt. And the West Coast Eagles are back.
Yeah, look, that's just a gift. It really is a gift goal to the West Coast Eagles. Lynch is on the ground, going for the ball. And you watch it here as it evolves. He's in the ruck, probably got away with a push there, but Lynch is not going to do anything other than maybe give it to a teammate, and it's just a really sloppy attempt from Clark.
Just drops the hip on him, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's just completely unnecessary, and a gift goal to the West Coast Eagles.
You joined us late. Collingwood opened up a 19-point lead early on, first term. Kicked the first 3 goals of the game. Right now it's a 6-point ball game. Beams with a clearance of sorts. Whirlingham can't gather and go. Neither can Waters. Little fumble. It's been that kind of game for Solo. To Beams. Will Cloak get a run at this? He's manhandled it. He still marks it.
I reckon Eric McKenzie, when he looks at this, is entitled to ask Patrick McGinnity what he was doing. McGinnity ran away from where the ball was going to drop to stop his player getting involved when he really should have pushed back, eyes on the ball and killed the contest. Got to give your defenders a hand when they're playing on monsters like a Travis Cloak.
Yeah, particularly when it's a balloon ball coming in. You're absolutely right. Not as if it was a low dart.
He's taken the most contested marks in the competition again this year for the 2nd year running, and that was a ripper. And he finishes it off with his 3rd goal of the afternoon.
Beams is up to 17 disposals. He was the one that got that ball in. And look at here. Good composure here from Solo. Just sums up the situation really nicely. And then just a controlled kick in. But you're right, McGinnity on the right of screen there. You've just got to be aware when your keys. There he is there. He's not even watching the ball, which is a cardinal sin in football. Not even watching the ball. Even if Cloak hadn't marked it. I'm not sure McGinnity wouldn't have been involved in that play anyway.
You can just see the ball use forward of centre that you're talking about, Ruzi. 3 marks inside 50 to Collingwood, 2 to the West Coast. Given they've gone inside 50 almost 20 apiece, that's an incredibly low number and a poor return.
Nat Nui with the reach, down to Kerr. Quick hack forward. Hams got there but couldn't complete it. Stolen by Marley Williams. Somehow found Shaw. Called to go. Swan.
You're a better man than I am if you can work out who's responsible for Dane Swan. No one has got within cooey of him. He's up to 11 possessions now.
Back inside defensive 50, Maxwell. Reed. Back to Swan, and again, free to run.
It's quite amazing, Jace, when there's 18 versus 18. Everyone's got an opponent, and that's sometimes the problem when the coaches leave it up to the players. The players want to abdicate responsibility.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you got one, you know, the premier midfielders in the competition running around without an opponent at all.
Clark crunched. Hill with the crumb. Pops it up in the Marston direction. Had to stand his ground. And he misses Shuey with the handball.
That's a terrible handball to miss from that range. Really just rushing it again, feeling the pressure.
Nat Nui attacks it with Jolly. Beams caught by the arm. Kerr shovels it out. Rosa. Shuey to the top of the square, and it works. Hands was in the hole.
Now, mind you, it works both ways. So at that stoppage, which is forward of centre, Swan has got no one. Now, I'm not sure whether Shuey's his direct opponent, but there's every chance it could be. So it works both ways. You've got a bit of an unaccountable midfield matchups going on at the moment.
Played at a high intensity, lots of turnovers, fumbles, drop marks, missed kicks, finals pressure, but Ashton Hands is up to it.
And if we see this vision again, we're probably going to catch, hopefully, Dane Swan as this ball's coming in. And there's some discussion here as to who's playing on who. But I suspect there's a bit of confusion all over the ground, not just in the back half where Maxwell's trying to sort out who's on Hands. But we see here, and Shuey gets the handball out. This nice kick in. And there's Swan right there. He's absolutely right next to Hands, and he's got no one on him. Now, I'm not suggesting that he's his direct opponent, but there's someone that is.
Marley Williams was side by side with him for a while, and there is Dane Swan with a mountain of space. No one anywhere near him. Wandering forward. Kick off the deck from side bottom didn't work. Hill stays down, tried to crumb it off Hands. Couldn't. Williams. It was deliberate. The umpire said he disguised it well enough.
I'll tell you a matchup that's not working, and that's Scott Selwood on Dane Beams.
Yeah.
Dane Beams is on 17 possessions. Scott Selwood's had 4.
Yeah.
So Selwood was in the 30s after demolishing Judd all game last week. So this has been a turnaround in Scott Selwood's form, but it's only early. Free kick, West Coast against Jolly. Right free to Cox. 6 points the margin. McGinnity. Oh, straight through Brown's legs. Swan about to pounce on him. He could smell some blood there. Just couldn't wrap up the ball with the player. Waters heads wide. Shepherd. Arm slap, no free. And no free for being jumped on.
That's making no effort.
So Buckley gets away with one. And
he had no prior opportunity, but he just lay on the ball and made no effort. So that's one that you wouldn't mind being paid. That's really embarrassing for Mitchell Brown just to get nutmegged like that.
That's big stage pressure for you. Selwood gets a rare touch. Kerr. Nat Nui in a one-on-one. Got a hand on it, couldn't bring it in. Gathers, in turn gathered. Somehow raked it free, somehow got it up, and somehow Hill levels the scores.
Well, that's strength of size from Nick Nat Nui. He protected the drop of the ball. You can see Nathan Buckley, he's probably thinking quite a few things at the moment, but he's certainly not showing it overtly. He uses his strength to protect the ball drop. Then he holds a couple off, then he rolls with the footy, and then as it comes out, he gets involved again. He stands up with the footy and he forces it forward, and that sets it up for Josh Hill. That is just a terrific second and third effort from a big man using his strength.
Yeah, just a great effort in staying in the contest from that Nui there. Just didn't concede, didn't give up, and Hill has been a really important player for them all year. But I suggested Nathan Buckley wants to get his midfield matchups right, because Kerr was by himself again at a stoppage. So both teams are really losing their direct opponents around the clearances now in general play.
Gee, that's a good grab. Free grab, take your pick. You got one to the ear, hands it up to Shuey. They have not seen the lead in this game, the West Coast Eagles. Collingwood has led from the outset. The West Coast a chance to take the lead for the first time today. Darling, Sharon in his hands, and here is the high. Yep,
a little clip. What I really liked from that kick going forward from the Eagles was he expected a blaze away and it just chipped it to space. And Darling's so quick on the lead.
Goal umpire does some dancing. He's got it, and for the first time today, the West Coast Eagles lead.
Yeah, good effort from the West Coast Eagles to really start to dominate around the footy. Chris, really nice quick kick, but again, Shuey's coming out of the midfield here. Not sure whose direct opponent is there. Goes Gaff past, and Shuey gets it and hits Darling on the lead. So they're really having trouble now losing their direct opponents through the midfield. We've got side bottom in, we've got Swan in, and we've got Thomas in at the moment for Collingwood.
West Coast Eagles have pushed a few of their chips in. They're going all in now late in this opening half. They lead by 6 points. And the ball up. They're getting the clearances at the moment. Swan. It's almost a clearance to the West.